Welcome back to another episode. Today's topic is teachers. Teachers, we all love them, don't we? Especially the good ones. Good teachers are hard to find. So, what's a teacher and what do they actually do? Well, a teacher guides studies and instruction. So, you already know what a teacher is, but I always like to give an official definition so that we know what we're working with or where we're coming from. Now, something that you may not know, or at least what my take on teachers, is that when you're a teacher, it shouldn't be a job; it should be a mindset. So the whole idea of teaching as, let's say, a job is something that you actually get paid to do. Now, I can't take anything away from that, but for the great teachers that are out there, I believe the great teachers take teaching as a mindset instead of a job. And I think that's the way that it should be. The reason is that you want to be taught by someone who loves what they do, not just there for a paycheck. Why? Because the people that love what they do will give you more. You're going to get more value from someone who loves what they do than someone who's just there just to check a box or just to put a butt in a seat or anything along those lines, right? And what really distinguishes great teachers, and I'm not sure if you can tell, I love great teachers because you can learn so much from them and you can just go so much farther with a great teacher, is that great teachers are able to reach unattainable goals with inadequate tools. That's what I think a great teacher is. Now, are there good teachers out there? Yes, there are good teachers out there. Teachers that teach you what you need to know based on what you signed up for. That's a good teacher. But I'm always in search of the great teachers. Why? Because you can learn so much from a great teacher just for the fact that they're using all of their resources and they're using their imagination to get you from a place where you are to a place where you never thought in a million years you'd actually end up. And so just like anything else, I'm always in the search to be the best that I possibly can be. And I know I can only get there if I have great teachers. So anytime that I was looking for a teacher, I was looking for the best. I wasn't just looking for someone that, did it. I wanted to look for someone that did it 10, 15, 20, 100 times over so that they had it so well that they could tell me the stuff that they learned after they created the system for actually doing it. And that actually helped me get to a better spot as well. So there are many good teachers out there. But the challenge, unfortunately, is they're threatened by something called the education system and the way that actually works. So, why, would you ask, would a good teacher might be threatened by the education system? Well, if you haven't heard it from someone that you know that's in the education system already, the goals that teachers have for students are usually superseded by the administration. So it's like the administration rules are, and you have a hierarchy. So if you're down here and the administration's up here, well, they're the one that actually make the rules and they're in charge. And if you don't abide by that, you're out. So even if teachers have an idea of what they want to teach their students, they're usually not given the flexibility they actually need to be able to teach the students the skills that they actually want to. That administration comes first. The next piece you have is the compensation may not necessarily be aligned with the teacher's goals. So sometimes teachers look at how can I support my family? How can I live in this environment? How can I do what I love to do, but yet provide all these other things that I need to do? And how can I do it within that environment if I'm capped or I'm restricted for what I can actually make? And so just the whole environment itself may not be something that someone sees that they can reach their full potential within. So that might, kind of deter them a little bit. Another aspect of the whole teaching game, so to speak, is that you have to play the game for the security standpoint. So you can start teaching, but when you actually get into a particular role, you don't essentially have this idea of safety and security until you have something called tenure. And tenure is like something that you reach after a probationary period. A probation period essentially means, hey, we're going to try you out. We're going to see how you work. If you can work with us, if you work well within the system, and if you do, we'll keep you on. And then once you have tenure, they can't get rid of you, right? And so they just might kind of like move you around. So that idea might be comfortable for some, but having to play a game for anything that you do, it depends on what the goal of the game actually is. If the goal is just to stick in the system and not get removed, you may not have the best system as a result. So some folks may see that as a challenge because if they get tenure and other folks have tenure, again, there might be a clash as far as, what the great teachers do and what the not so great teachers decide to do. And then last but not least, merits and results aren't necessarily a priority. So when the administration puts together what their goals are, that's not necessarily in the best interest of the students. And it's also not necessarily in the best interest of the teachers. And so this whole idea of merits and results, where you move forward based on what you're actually able to create and perform and do, doesn't necessarily get recognized and isn't as much of a priority, I think, as it should be. So those are the reasons why sometimes teachers don't last within the education system, and that can be a travesty because we need more great teachers. We need more good teachers. We need people that actually love to teach in this environment. So I learned that I'm actually a teacher, but it took me until my mid-30s to figure that out. And the reason that it took so long was I enjoyed solving problems when I was a kid. I loved solving problems, so I thought engineering. Why? Because I thought if I could solve problems with technology and my mind and kind of just putting those things together, that would have the best lifestyle for me. That would create the best lifestyle. So I was looking at compensation. I was like, engineers make good money. Those are all the things I was looking at, right? And then I also looked at teaching, and I didn't really see a potential for me on the teaching side of things. I looked at it as, okay, if I teach, I had to be in a school system. I see how the school systems work. I'm not really sure if that's going to be the best environment for me. And then the other thing that I thought was that, there's not really a need for teachers. It's like they have plenty of folks going for degrees that are teaching. It's like they don't need another person like me kind of thrown in there, right? So I'm just like, okay, with those three things, I was like, you know what, let's go in a different direction. So I went into engineering. And what changed for me is when my life circumstances changed. So I had an engineering degree. I thought I was doing well. And then all of a sudden, life circumstances happened. I ended up getting laid off. And then I had to figure out, well, man, if it's hard for me to find a job and I'm not actually good at working for other people, what's really left for me, right? I had to create something on my own. So I had to learn a new way to think, right? My whole belief system had to change, and how I actually went about what I do on a regular basis actually changed because my goals changed. And it was important for me to understand what my strengths and weaknesses are. Well, it turns out that I realized one of my strengths was actually teaching. I never really knew that. All the feedback that I got was that, you know what, I've been doing well in environments where I actually teach other folks. And even though it wasn't something that was easy, I was fulfilled by that process. I enjoyed it. And I even got the feedback from folks that weren't really big fans of me that if there's anything that I could do, it was teaching because they had challenges with that, and that was something that I actually excelled in. So I kind of saw that as a sign. So I actually, took that leap and started figuring out, okay, well, if I was going to be a teacher, what would I actually need to do? So I actually decided to teach at my son's school for 1 year on everything that I had learned when I made my transition. I learned so much about finance through real estate that I started teaching an introduction to finance to elementary school students and middle school students, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And that was remarkable and rewarding. I enjoyed that so much I can't even tell you. And what I actually saw within that was that I was teaching something that I had not seen taught in any school, which is like nuts, right? Because you think, well, you're learning everything you need to know in school, right? Well, there's certain things you don't learn in school. And I was actually getting to teach that with finance. And I, at that point, saw the need for someone with my abilities and the topic that I was actually teaching with finance. Because I'm just like, well, if they don't teach this in school, then they need people that teach this in school. And that's what I know. So that's what I need to teach. And it wasn't just that. It was also mindset, and it was also negotiation were two other things that I have seen that have not been taught in school. And after documenting my own learning lessons and coming up with my own curriculum, I know what it actually needs. I know how it actually needs to be taught. And I was able to solve a bigger problem with focusing on these areas and challenges in a systematic way. So I literally brought what I learned from engineering and I started applying them to problems as far as, how people negotiate, how they think, and how they understand money. And I was actually able to put information together in a more meaningful way. And so that was huge for me. So again, something that I didn't think that I would be doing, that all of a sudden I developed a mindset and understood what my strengths and weaknesses were and find out that I had a strength in teaching and I had to start doing it. So I began doing what I love and I started doing it for free because the whole idea is I never wanted it to become a job. The whole reason that I actually do teaching is because I have TNT goals. And if you haven't heard those before, my goals are to teach 1,000 people, to nurture 100. And when I say teach 1,000 people, teach 1,000 people something new that changed their life forever. Nurture 100 people so that they can believe they're stronger than they think they are, because everyone's a lot stronger than they believe. And to transform 10 people into turning a dream into a reality. And if I can do that via teaching, I did not want it to become a job. The whole idea that I'm even doing teaching, it's not for the money. It's because I enjoy doing it. So the whole idea is I'm going to keep doing it. I'm hoping others actually receive value from it. And I know that that value will come back to me in one way or another. But that shouldn't stop the process. That shouldn't stop me from going out and teaching. And so my goal is to be a great teacher. My goal is to help you to reach unattainable goals with inadequate tools. So technology is a great thing. I'm going to bring as much into the equation as I possibly can. But there's certain things that even technology is not going to help bridge the gap. I have to get you from this point to this point. And I can only do that with what you have up here. And in communicating to you an idea or a concept, I want to make sure that you actually understand it. So I apologize if some of these videos are a little bit long, but that's the point of actually getting all this information across. So I hope you enjoyed this topic on teachers. I hope that you have a better understanding of how important teachers actually are and how rare it is to find a great one. And if there's anything that you do, always be in search of great teachers because you will learn so much from them so quickly. And I hope you enjoyed, again, today's topic on teachers, and I hope you stay tuned in for the next topic. All right, I'll catch you later. Bye.